Hello everyone, Hitesh here, and today we're going to talk about the latest released movie called Minecraft, which came out in 2025. This movie is based on a real game, and that game is also called Minecraft. Many of you must have played this game. It's a game that can be played on the computer and also on mobile, but it requires a premium version. Now, this movie has some plus points and some minus points too, and I'll talk about all that when I review the movie at the end. And now, without wasting any time, let's directly get into the main storyline of this movie. One small request. Almost 80% of you visit the channel, enjoy the videos, watch quality content, but don't subscribe before leaving. So I just have a small request. Please do subscribe to the channel before you go, because it takes a lot of effort to create these videos, which include voiceover, editing, graphic designing, channel management, and many more things. So please subscribe to the channel and show your support. The story begins with a boy named Steve, who is very fond of mining. But whenever he goes near the mines to dig, an old uncle scolds and drives him away because there was a signboard saying, "Children are not allowed." When he grows up, he starts dressing like old miners and does a 9-to-5 job in a company. But deep in his heart, he's still obsessed with mining. One day, while eating breakfast, he sees the mines again. Now that he's grown up, he goes back to the mines, and this time the old man can't stop him. While digging, he finds two different things. One is an orb, and the other is an earth crystal. As he combines them, a new portal opens. This was the portal to the Overworld. Upon entering, he sees a colorful world where everything is in block shape. But the most special thing was the power he got after entering this world. Here, he could create anything in any way. New houses, new buildings. He also meets a wolf dog named Dennis, who he befriends by giving him a bone. Together, they make the overworld beautiful, kind of like a theme park. Life was going well. But one day, while wandering in the forest, Steve sees another new portal that was incomplete. As soon as he completes it, they enter a new dimension of the overworld called the Nether. Here, the one ruling was a pig queen named Malgosha. She was the leader, kind of like a queen of the piglings. The job of these piglings was to extract gold and destroy the overworld forever, because Malgosha had a story connected to it, which I'll tell in between the story. Now, as soon as Steve and Dennis appear before Malgosha, she captures them. But before being captured, Steve sends his orb outside with Dennis, so that this pig queen can't destroy the overworld. Dennis also goes to his house and throws the orb under the bed. Now, the story, which was set in 1979, shifts to 2025. Here we are introduced to the second lead character of this story, Jason Momoa, our Aquaman. Basically, when he was a kid, he had won big titles in gaming. His childhood obsession with gaming had taken over his mind, and as an adult, he opened a gaming store called Garrett the Garbage World Gaming Zone. But just because he loved games didn't mean others did too, so his shop wasn't doing well. Expenses kept piling up, and now he even received orders to vacate the shop. One day, he goes to an auction to buy something that might revive his dying gaming life. He actually plans to buy an entire container. The auctioneer tells him that a rare Atari game called Cosmos from 1979 is also inside it. Hearing this, Garrett becomes excited because it was kind of a hidden gem. If he got it in his store, the store's reputation would rise. Although expensive, he ends up buying the container. But when he opens the box of Cosmos, he finds old junk inside. Garrett yells at the auctioneer, who apologizes, saying he never opened the box to check. Garrett is disappointed and leaves for home. But on the way, his car breaks down badly. Meanwhile, two children are arriving in this same town. Their names are Natalie and Henry. Their parents are no longer alive, and now they have to start a new life. Natalie gets a job in a potato chips factory, and the company also provides them with a house. So they set out to move into their new home. Dawn, a company representative, gives them the house keys. After arriving at the house, they are quite happy. The house is decent. Natalie loves potatoes and keeps making dishes like potato hamburgers and potato pizzas, but Henry doesn't like any of that. Henry's first day at school in the new city is coming up, and before going there, he wants to buy a game to pass time. So he visits Garrett's gaming store. Garrett calls him a chomu, silly, and jokingly asks what he wants. Henry says it's his first day at the new school, and he wants a fun game. Garrett, who is hungry, takes Henry's potato pizza in exchange for a game. At school, Henry meets the principal, who has recently gotten divorced. She tells Henry that he's special since he's the only new student after a long time, and they'll treat him well. In his first class, the teacher, Mr. Gunshi, places a banana and an orange on the table and asks everyone to draw them as a life painting. While others make regular drawings, Henry, who is interested in robotics, engineering, and jetpacks, creates a jetpack with the banana. Gunshi scolds him and sarcastically asks why he doesn't build a real jetpack. Using all his skills, Henry actually creates a jetpack. But his classroom enemies cut a wire on it. Still, Henry manages to fly, but due to the cut wire, he loses control and crashes into the potato chip factory, causing his sister financial loss. The principal yells at Henry, saying he caused damages and even endangered other children. She tells him to call his guardians. Henry has no guardians, so he calls Garrett and begs him to act as his dad. Garrett refuses at first, but Henry says he has $26. That's enough to convince Garrett, who arrives at school in his flashy car. The principal is impressed by his style and even seems interested in dating him. But Garrett and Henry leave. Though Garrett saves him, he also scolds him a lot. As Henry explores Garrett's store further, he finds the same orb and the earth crystal. When he combines them, their power starts pulling Henry toward the mine. Henry reaches the mine with the earth crystal. It's quite late by now, and Natalie is worried. In a new city with a new school, she fears her brother is lost. Dawn tells her that she had enabled a tracking system on Henry's phone so she can locate him. As Henry and Garrett reach the mine due to the orb's pull, Natalie and Dawn also arrive, using the tracker. But as soon as the orb connects to the portal, it activates, pulling all four of them into Overworld. Once they arrive in Overworld, they see a colorful world where there were different types of creatures, like Nitwit, Dennis, Chicken Jockey, Emerald Pearl Keepers, and many others. But now the news of their presence had also reached Malgosha. So, Malgosha, the queen of the piglins, sent her piglins on a mission to acquire that orb. On the other hand, when the portal opens, a Minecraft creature named Nitwit arrives on Earth. While the four of them are still trying to figure out how to get out of there, what kind of place this is, what's good or bad, and if there's any danger, suddenly all the piglins sent by Malgosha arrive, also known as piglings. As soon as these piglins enter the overworld dimension, they start turning into zombies. As the zombies begin to attack, Henry, just like Steve when he first arrived and gained powers, also gains some powers. He builds a tall tower to protect himself, but by then it's already too late. The attack keeps increasing and there's no one to save them. But just then, Steve arrives to save them. He knows that as soon as morning comes, all these zombies will be destroyed by fire blasts, meaning they won't even exist anymore. After being saved, they all thank him. Steve says, "Don't thank me, just give me my orb." But clever Garrett keeps the orb and says, "Look, the thing is, I want lots of gold, diamonds, and jewels. You've built so much here, and I'm struggling back on Earth. I need all these things." Steve replies, "I'll tell you where they are, only if you help me rescue Dennis from Malgosha." Dennis, his dog, was captured by Malgosha. Garrett agrees. So they all set off to rescue Dennis. But to fight against Malgosha, they needed a lot of weapons, so they go to a creature town. In this creature town, there were many different types of creatures who cooked chickens in lava and created various weapons using mechanical things. Some huge creatures were also present. There's a lot of comedy here, but their main goal is to make weapons first. Malgosha, on the other hand, calls upon her general Chungus, who looks cute but is actually massive. Meanwhile, the five of them start preparing various weapons using their individual mentalities to rescue Dennis from Malgosha. At this point, Garrett finds the Emerald Pearl. Steve tells him that it's a special ball. Wherever you throw it, you'll be instantly transported there. So Garrett throws it behind him and teleports back. Meanwhile, everyone else starts using their brains to create different weapons. Steve first builds a blade, a sword, but Garrett laughs and says, "Wait, I'll make something cooler." Although he meant to make nunchucks, he accidentally ends up with an iron bucket. Then Henry steps in and uses his own creativity to make a potato gun, which creates a decent blast when fired. Now, while everyone is ready with their weapons, General Chungus arrives with his full army. a massive fight breaks out. The fight goes on for half an hour, so we won't describe it much. I had high expectations from the CGI, but the movie makers left a lot to be desired in post-production. Whether it was intentional or accidental, the CGI masking wasn't done properly, and the visuals that were supposed to be created weren't done well either. During this ongoing battle, the group splits into two teams, one with Dawn and Natalie, and the other with Steve, Garrett, and Henry. Steve attaches jetpacks to their backs to save them and says, "We need to reach the Bluestone mine across that hill." So, flying through the sky, they all reach the Bluestone mine. Meanwhile, on Earth, we see Nitwit getting hit by a car. The car was being driven by the principal. She says, "Sorry I hurt you, but why is your head so big? Anyway, how about a nice dinner?" Meanwhile, back in the overworld, Garrett asks Steve, "Why is Malgosha so dangerous? Why does she want to harm us?" Steve explains that Malgosha was once an amazing dancer. Her dance moves were so killer and sexy that the Nether creatures, i.e. the piglins, couldn't even understand her. In a way, her creativity was completely dismissed. Since then, Malgosha decided she would destroy every bit of creativity and creation. That's why she now wants to completely destroy the beautiful creativity of the overworld. And since General Chungus failed his mission, the Piglin Queen gets furious and summons another dangerous ally, her henchman named the Great Havoc, or you could call him Great Hawk too. He was massive and lacked brains, but the Queen gave him one. Then the scene shifts to the other team, Natalie and Dawn. It was nighttime, and they were exhausted after fighting so many zombies. Just then, a wolf dog appears. Although Natalie was already scared of him, Dawn tells her that they can control him. And when she gives that dog a big bone nearby, she realizes that it's none other than Dennis, whom they were heading to Dokrani to rescue. Now that Dennis is found, they decide to look for the rest of their group, Steve and Henry. Steve had gone with Garrett to the Bluestone mine. This Bluestone mine had a lot of diamonds and gems that Garrett needed. As Garrett starts collecting the stones, the Great Hawk arrives. To escape, they sit inside a kind of rollercoaster cart and try to get out of there. But the redstone signals below them don't connect, so Garrett has to get off and push the cart. Meanwhile, the Great Hawk reaches there. But clever Steve tells Henry to slap the creepers, which would activate them. As soon as Henry slaps them, all the creepers glow green and explode powerfully, trapping the Great Hawk completely in the mine. They manage to escape with their lives. On the other side, the principal is having dinner with Nitwit in a fine dine restaurant. Somewhere deep down, she has also started falling for Nitwit. Meanwhile, Steve says that the Dokrani's creatures won't leave them alone. They must open a portal using a new Earth crystal to escape, as the previous one that connected with the orb and opened dimensions had broken during the fight. There was one more Earth crystal in the overworld, but it wasn't easy to obtain since it was inside the woodland, a 3-story building. The first floor had axemen, the second floor had brain blasters, who could tear your brain apart, and the third floor had the Emerald Man, whose eyes could mess up your mind if you looked into them. So how could they go there? Garrett, the garbage man, who always had garbage ideas, suggests that if they distract everyone by singing and dancing, Henry could sneak in and get the Earth crystal. They start dancing and cracking jokes. Meanwhile, Henry manages to reach the first, then the second, and finally the third floor. In between, Garrett and Steve's dance annoys the nitwits, so they throw them into a fighting ring. This time, Garrett, the garbage man, has to fight against the chicken chalk. He wasn't much of an opponent, but it was fun to watch. They have a good fight. Meanwhile, Henry, now on the third floor, finds the Earth crystal, but then the Emerald Man arrives. Accidentally looking into his eyes, Henry starts hallucinating. He sees his own people insulting him, saying he's good for nothing, can't do anything right, all his experiments are failures, and he's not even worthy of friendship. But somehow, Henry stabilizes his mind, closes his eyes, and starts attacking the Emerald Man with his sword. Eventually, the Emerald Man turns into an Eber ball, which was very effective for teleportation. Meanwhile, down on the first floor, Steve and Garrett manage to defeat everyone and escape. But by then, Dokrani and many of his creatures had arrived. Garrett tells his friends to move ahead while he holds them off. His character keeps changing his tone and language, from Gujarati, Marathi, Bengali, English to Mexican. It was super fun to listen to. I even felt like doing the entire voiceover in those accents. But if I repeat every dialogue, the explanation will get too long, and I don't want my creativity to ruin your entertainment. Now, coming back to the main story, they escape, but a massive blast knocks them out. Their dog Dennis finds them and brings them to Natalie and Dawn. Although they survived the blast, by then, Malgosha had already gotten hold of the orb and the Earth crystal. He opened a new portal to destroy the overworld, covering everything in darkness. All his Dukars had turned into zombies and were ready to attack. Steve gets an idea and starts preparing his team, creating new weapons and developing new strategies to fight back. Their plan was to somehow capture the orb so that daylight could return, and all the zombies would burn in the sunlight. A massive battle takes place between them. But unfortunately, the makers didn't do proper post-processing. The CGI unmasking wasn't properly done. Blue screens were visible. Even in the jumping scenes, Henry's ropes or harness were clearly seen. The body was prevented from falling, but even that wasn't visualized properly or processed well. Anyway, maybe their budget ran out, or perhaps they had a fight with the producer, or maybe the editor just quit and ran away. Anything could be the reason. Let's get straight back to the story. A proper war had already started. Malgosha had called in her biggest warrior, Mr. the Great Hawk. But by then, from their creature world, Ganjak had already arrived to fight him. He had flying super shoes with which he smashed the Great Hawk's skull. Meanwhile, Steve had now reached wearing his blue stone suit. He went straight to Malgosha and told her that her reign was over and she should return to her own world. Though Malgosha had already lost here, she still didn't stop her evil acts. She tried to stab Steve in the stomach while pretending to bow down, but Steve had already understood her move. So here, all of Malgosha's plans fail completely, and she is sent back to the Nether. Steve was finally very happy to see his dog Dennis. And as promised, once Steve found Dennis, the other four could return to their own world, Earth. So they all began to leave. Here, Garrett says that he doesn't have any friends of his age on Earth, so if they stay with him, he'll be really happy. As they are leaving, Natalie says, "The magic you spread here in Overworld, if you spread some of it on Earth too, that would be awesome." Steve thinks about it and finally decides that yeah, it's been a long time since he's been to Earth. So he too sets off for Earth. After arriving, he creates a brand new gaming zone called Game Overworld. Here, they created a new digital game named Lock City, which mesmerized everyone in the city. Everyone's life became set. Garrett started earning money, Steve's creativity paid off, and now even Henry started going to school with his jetpack. And with this happy ending, the movie ends. But in the post-credit scene, we see that the principal, who was with Nitwit, had now married him. Both of them were now able to exchange languages, meaning the principal could speak the Overworld language, and Nitwit could speak the Earth language like English and Hindi. And with that, the movie ends. So guys, how did you like this video? Please let me know in the comment section. If you're visiting this channel for the first time, please do subscribe, because we keep bringing you such excellent and high-quality content with good scripting and clear voiceovers. If you didn't like this video, have a complaint, or want to request a new movie to be covered on the channel, maybe your favorite one, then don't forget to let us know in the comments. We read all the comments. Alright then, see you in the next video. Bye.